They say we need credit cards in case an emergency happens, but is that true? You know, the idea of using a credit card just in case something happens is crazy to me, right? Let's say you have a car and something happens. Now you put it on the credit card, right? Which, okay, the credit card was there to help you, but they never talk about paying it off that month. You know, if you can't do that, then you really don't need a credit card, you know? It would be better if you would just save the money and then just pay outright. Now I know a lot of people would be like, well, then I wouldn't have access to, but the problem is, once you use the credit card, it's paying it back that becomes the issue, right? Because let's say you don't have any money, but your car breaks down. Well, now you're going into debt for a depreciating asset. And you didn't have the money anyways, right? That's the problem with credit cards. It's like you don't have the money. That's why you're using a credit card. Now I use my credit card as well. I'm really pulling back, but I use it differently. I use it for getting a small discount, right? At least now I do, right? If I have to spend $1,000, I'll put it on my credit card so that I get 2% off, which will be $20, right? I'm not using it to make a boatload of money. I'm using it so that I can at least lower my bills just marginally. And then all my other debts I'm paying off, because that is a trap. You know, back younger, I used to think that made sense, and even recently somewhat. It's like it makes sense to have a credit card so that you can always, it feels like you have that money, but it's not yours. If you need $500 from a credit card company, well, that means you really can't spend $500, right? It's really a warping of your perception of things, right? This is why it's such a scam, because they come at you so young and then you have no idea. No one ever tells you these things, but every time you use a credit card, you're playing a dicey game. And if you're not completely disciplined, I wouldn't even do it. Even the same with investing. I've lost a lot of money investing, and I've given up my freedom, which is the most important thing for me. But I just wish somebody had told me not to play their game. Now I know they're never going to tell me because they play the game, but at the same time, it's like you got to at least let the next person know, hey man, do not do this. I gave up my freedom for power. And that's kind of what you're doing with the credit cards, you know? You're saying, oh, now I have the power, the buying power, but you're giving up your freedom to have that buying power. I've come to the conclusion there is no such thing as free money, and the only way you will escape is if you don't take their money. That's just what I believe. No matter how much uphill running you do, you'll never catch up, right? Their tax is nothing, basically. They give you money, they add on interest, and the interest is tax-free. So you're just, and I mean, I guess they're, you know, because, you know, if you're, let's say, if you have 3,000 in your bank account, but you're owed 10,000, now you do have to play the game. But you don't have to play forever. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. How long do I need to play this game before I can completely wipe it out? And I'm realizing I'm trying to change my mindset to where it's just about paying off debt. That is all. Anything else is extra. And it's actually a little bit interesting. It feels like an experiment now. And I've been trying to experiment with paying off my debt, right? Because if I see how quickly I can pay it off, maybe I can do it quicker than maybe I expect, and I can be free again. Although I am free basically now. I'm talking about getting 100% free. Won't be easy. I'm going to do it the long and boring way because that is what is needed. I plan to... This is what I've been doing recently. I've been paying off my debt early, I guess you could say. My bill may be due the 22nd of this month, but I pay it off at the 1st. And I'm going to try to compound that and see if that, I don't know, does something, right? So it's like the month that they would be charging me interest, I'm basically front loading it, so at least it's less interest that they've accrued with my bigger balance because I already added to it. And I'm just going to keep adding to it. My first piece of debt I'm paying off is my car. Then I'm doing something about my insurance. And at that point, I will have created so much leverage that I'll be back again. This will be the last month my landlord at my other place could charge me rent. So once that's squared away, I have a clean bill of health. The problem is, keeping a clean bill of health is nowhere near as easy as it would seem. But one thing I will not do is rely on an emergency for credit cards. I will have an emergency saving now. I'm trying to build that up now. I already kind of have it. I have a weird scenario, but I will be heavily in cash and a little bit because I just don't have enough maneuvering while using credit cards. And I realized once you stop using them, you can really see where your finances are at, you know? It's all fine and dandy when you're just spending on a credit card that has $10,000 limit. But when you completely stop, that is where you'll know, okay, I have this, I have this, I have this. Until then, you'll never know.